So this has come up really nicely. This is the sample I had in the last vlog. 2 pieces of hewn pine. These were offcuts, resin, gum nuts, gum leaves, 2 different sizes of gum nuts. And let's see if we can get in nice and close and get that to focus. You can see just how well shiny that is, as well as how clear the epoxy is on top. So that was using 1500 grit. Well, I went through the grits, then finished at 1500 grit wet dry sandpaper. And that was reasonable, a bit of cloudiness after it dried. Then finished polishing it off with Brasso. I find Brasso works really well on plastics. So my CA glue finish pens. So we're not entirely certain what the layout will be. These are Banksia nuts. So Banksia nut cut on the bandsaw. The centre portion is nice and straight like that, and then you get all the seed pods coming through. These discs, another Banksia nut, well, sliced into discs. They create an interesting effect. We've got some small gum nuts that'll act as sort of like a pebble bed. Some gum leaves, so we've got a couple of different colours depending on how dried out they are. And some larger gum nuts that we're washing out to get all the bugs out, because we found, and it's quite disgusting, that when you pour epoxy into these and you haven't cleaned them out, all the bugs start coming out, and we had a couple of earwigs come out covered in epoxy, and it was gross. It was really gross. So one thing I'm trying out at the moment is a chat room thing on Discord. Discord is primarily aimed at gamers, but it's free and can be used by anybody. If you've been on the internet for long enough, it's like IRC, but not using a horrible client. It's available on all platforms and it's free. If you haven't been on the internet for that long, it's sort of like Slack. It sort of is a direct competitor, but not aimed at enterprise. So links in the description below. I'm saying it's the Australian woodworkers thing because I don't necessarily want it to be the Wood Night chat room, but by Australian woodworkers, it's more like GMT plus 10. So it's not excluding anybody, but the idea is that often, say, an American chat room doesn't work time-wise for a lot of Australians because we're either at work or asleep when all the conversation happens. So I'm experimenting with that. If you think it's a good idea, check it out. If you think it's crap, let me know. Ignoring that this is not hooked up at the moment, we'll get to that in a bit later, I have dust collection running to the miter saw. No, it's not hooked up, doesn't matter for now. That goes underneath the cabinet, along the ground, a bit of a bend. First wire eventually will go to the table saw. That then continues on and splits off. When it continues on, that goes to the combo machine on the other side of the outfeed table. That split goes all the way under the outfeed table to the bandsaw, so it's a little bit long and I need to hook it up. I've been doing some testing with this cheap anemometer. I don't expect the results on this to be right. I'm looking for a ballpark figure that I can compare each stage of it and each change that I make. So if it's at 100 and I did a change and it got me to 120, I know that that's a relative performance increase. I don't have to worry whether that's the actual CFM of it. That being said, at the far point I get about 430. And at this point I get 510. Now it does seem pretty low. One of the problems with 4-inch pipe is that the surface area is greatly reduced. It's something like half as much as 5-inch, something like that. And I'm sure this setup is not the most efficient, but it works for this space, at least for now. I took off, on the dust collector, I took off the pipe that would normally go here to the filter bag. Increased it from 510 to about 590 or so. So a good 80 CFM improvement for just removing that cable. Now obviously, that pipe. Now obviously that is not feasible, but what is feasible is shortening that pipe by making a new arrangement for the dust collector, for lack of a better term. I have mentioned it in the past where I want to build a frame where the entire impeller is pointing that way towards the filter and collection bag, raise that up so that it's in line, and maybe even use a fixed pipe rather than flex pipe. There's a few issues I need to address, like how I attach and detach the cyclone separator, but baby steps, really. The next issue I have is hooking up blast gates. This here is your fairly standard 4-inch blast gate. This is designed to connect to flex hose, but the problem is it's flex hose at either end. So it's a bit weird. I would say the majority of home workshops at some point use PVC. If you're getting a 2 horsepower dust collector, you're going to not just have flex hose everywhere. It seems a bit pointless. Maybe that's just me. 4-inch or 100mm PVC doesn't exactly fit, it's too loose. But you can get these couplers, they fit great, and then flex hose can not go in there because they have the same OD and same ID. So I can do that, or connect it to an elbow or to a Y or something like that. Black plastic Ys don't fit on that, so you need a coupler to do that, which it's frustrating beyond belief. So the way that I had it hooked up in the past was I'd have to have a flex hose connected to the blast gate, then that doesn't fit on the pipe, so you get a piece of PVC pipe and you cut a slot down it, tape it up, and that fits inside, and you can tighten that down. And that's a lot of transitions and extra turbulence that's not really needed. So I'm going to attempt to make my own blast gates. What I can do depends on where it actually connects in this setup. So if I put it such that the blast gate connects directly to one of the fittings, in this case it would be a 45-degree bend, I can use PVC on one side, let's pretend this is the bend on the other side, and that'll fit in. Blast gate, then a coupling on the other side. And J-Bates did some like that, or exactly that, at one stage. So I'll use something very similar to that, maybe a different gate design though. Anyway, I think that's enough rambling for today. Hopefully the next time I do a vlog, I will have the epoxy pour already done, and that'll be something to look forward to. Thanks for watching.